Man City, you got away with this one. You got away with this one. Hey, this was entertaining, but you got away with this one. Final score at Craven Cottage: Fulham 4, Manchester City 5. This is up there with the craziest games I've watched this season. Nobody expected this. No one. Both teams coming off the back of a win. Man City obviously beating Leeds at home after that last minute winner from Phil Foden. And Fulham off the back of that massive win away from home against Tottenham in a London derby. So again, nobody really knew what to expect from this game. But I'll tell you what, nobody expected this one. Nobody expected this one. The game started off with a massive chance. Erling Haaland was put through on goal by Phil Foden. Fantastic pass. Erling Haaland 1v1 versus the goalkeeper. Enters the box, takes the shot with his left, opens up his body, and it hits the inside of the post. And at that point, he was still looking for his 100th Premier League goal. But Haaland would get his 100th goal in the Premier League 11 minutes later. A cross came in from the left-hand side. Doku with his left foot. I think it was Reinders that kind of did the dummy, let the ball through his legs. And Erling Haaland with the first time finish. No chance for the goalkeeper, Leno. The ball was just travelling at so much speed. There was no way Leno was going to save that. And Erling Haaland becomes the fastest player to reach 100 goals in the Premier League. 111 games. That's all it took him. Obviously, number one, number two was Alan Shearer with 124 games. And that just tells you what kind of machine this guy is. He's been terrorizing the Premier League ever since he joined from Borussia Dortmund. The guy is an absolute cyborg. Call him what you want. Yes, sometimes he goes missing. Yes, his footballing abilities, although they have improved a tiny little bit. The hold-up play is a bit better. The shielding the ball is a bit better. We'll get onto that in a minute. But overall, you can say what you want. He goes missing. He doesn't really impact the game. When Manchester City don't score, who else is scoring? When the guy scores, it's a party, man. It's an absolute party. Erling Haaland reaches 100 Premier League goals. And you know what? Say what you want about any striker that has ever played in this Premier League. From the moment you reach 100 goals in the Prem, I have respect for you. Not that I didn't have respect beforehand for Haaland. I always have. But in this particular case, 111 games only it took him to get to 100 goals. Listen, you've now joined the 100 club, man. And that deserves respect in itself. And listen, I heard something along the lines of, if he stays for 3 or 4 more seasons, hey, Alan Shearer, check your surroundings, mate. Because Erling Haaland is breathing down your neck. If he stays in the Premier League for at least 3 to 4 more seasons, hey, we might have to talk about that record. Because Harry Kane left the Premier League, and that was a big sigh of relief, man, for Alan Shearer. But listen, if Haaland stays long enough in the Prem, we might have to talk about that record. But listen, full credit and full respect to Erling Haaland for finally reaching 100 Premier League goals. Because it was coming, but it took a long time. Then Manchester City get their second of the night. The ball is played into Haaland. Anderson was absolutely no match for Haaland, man. Haaland just barges him off the ball. Anderson goes flying. Erling Haaland turns around, puts Reinders through, and Reinders, with an absolute exquisite finish, chips it over the goalkeeper. Just a tiny little chip. Didn't have to put much power onto it. Didn't really have to put much chip onto it. And that was it, 2-0. And then you're thinking, Manchester City are cruising. But at the same time, I'm looking at the scoreline and I'm going, we've seen this before against Leeds. We've seen this before. Can Manchester City hold on to their lead? Because when they went up 2-0 against Leeds, Leeds pulled it back to 2-2. So let's wait and see what happens. But Manchester City just kept on going. 3-0. Phil Foden with an absolute chicken zinger. The toppest of bins. Absolutely cleaned it out. What a finish and what a goal. And this guy has been on absolute fire recently. Like, there's no stopping him. Ever since people got onto him for that pass that he made to Eze, and people praised Foden more in the media, but then people online praised Eze more. I don't know if that triggered him, but Phil Foden has been in excellent form. Honestly, what a goal, what a finish. And before halftime, Fulham managed to pull it back. Lapse of concentration. Iwobi plays it out wide to Harry Wilson. He crosses it in. Smith Rowe's in the box. No chance for Donnarumma. 3-1. Second half, Manchester City restored their 3-goal cushion. Doku with a pass that was intended for Haaland. Nobody's going to fool me. Haaland manages to get a touch with the ball with his back heel and it lands to Phil Foden. He pushes it into the back of the net. 4-1. And you're thinking, okay, Manchester City now surely are going to go on and win this game comfortably, right? And that statement, again, at the time, was confirmed by a 5th goal. Jeremy Doku takes a shot just inside the box, tries to curl it in. It takes a wild deflection off Sanderberg. Back of the net, 5-1. You're thinking, all right, cool. Man City are going to go back to Manchester with all 3 points. Game done. So we thought. Let's talk about the 5-2 because at that point, it was becoming a goal fest. A low cross is deflected just outside the area. Alex Iwobi picks up that loose ball, curls it into the bottom right. Perfect finish, 5-2. In the meantime, on the other end, Haaland heads it onto the post. I don't know how he didn't score that. That header from Haaland onto the post would prove to be costly for Manchester City because 2 minutes later, Samuel Chukwueze, who came on earlier, makes it 5-3. Poor Manchester City clearance. The ball was at half volley height for Chukwueze. He says thank you very much, latches onto it, 5-3. Then it's 5-4 and it's a near replica of Chukwueze's first goal because a cross came in, Donnarumma flaps at it, it lands into the feet of Chukwueze, he smashes it into the bottom corner, literally copy-paste of the first goal that he scored. It's 5-4 and at that point, yes, I'm thinking of the possible 5-5 that Fulham could score here. And it nearly happened because in the 97th minute, Kevin, who had come on a couple of minutes earlier, finds Josh King at the byline. Josh King tries to push it in and Gvardiol is there on the line to save the day for Manchester City. Game finishes 5-4 and that was an absolute goal fest. And the game ends there and Manchester City leave London with all 3 points. And really and truly, this could be the reaction. This could be the reaction. I don't need to go into specifics. No, I am going to go into specifics. But this was an absolute goal fest. As a neutral, I enjoyed this. I felt like it was Boxing Day because usually these kind of matches and these kind of fixtures where you have loads of goals, they happen on Boxing Day, not at the start of December. But now we need to get into the nitty gritty. As much as I praise Manchester City for their overall play, the way they just control games, the way they knock the ball around and always find little gaps and little spaces in between the lines, especially when it comes to Renders, when it comes to Shirky, who had come on as well towards the end of the game, and he was very good at that as well, finding little spaces in between the lines. Phil Foden was very good at that as well. Nico Gonzalez is very good at that usually as well. Bernardo Silva, all these, tidy little players, they're very good at finding little spaces in between the lines, which is something that disrupted a lot of Fulham's play, if I'm really honest. It's just a shame that, apart from the goal that Renders scored, I don't think Manchester City really created anything from those little moments, of finding passes in between the lines. They didn't really create anything from that. It was more so, the first goal came from out wide. Second goal, like I said, was the only one that came through the middle from those little passes in between the lines. The third one was an absolute worldie from Phil Foden. The fourth one from Foden, again, a loose ball that he picks up. It wasn't anything from their usual play. But you still have to give them credit for the way they play football. However, we need to talk about the amount of goals that Manchester City have been conceding in recent times. I don't know about you guys, but conceding 9 goals in the last 5 Premier League games seems quite a lot to me, especially given the fact that it's Manchester City. And recently they've shown that in defence, they are very, very fragile. I'm looking at that Man City back four and I'm going, okay, apart from Josko Gvardiol and apart from Ruben Diaz, the other two, the fullbacks, they're not really fullbacks by trade. So maybe, I'm not saying Pep has to go into the market. Well, maybe he's going to, but I think maybe it's time to go back to playing players in their rightful positions. And maybe, just maybe that can prevent Man City from conceding this many goals. O'Reilly is not really a fullback. Mateus Nunes is not really a fullback. Although they have been doing really well for Man City in recent times. And they've helped out in terms of, putting in crosses, serving Haaland or serving their teammates. They've done really well. But ultimately, especially in games like this, you do want to see proper fullbacks. Fullbacks who are actually fullbacks by trade. And the games are coming thick and fast for Manchester City because it's not getting any easier. They've got Sunderland in the Premier League on Saturday. And then they've got the big boys in the Champions League away from home, Real Madrid. And that is not going to be easy, my friends. So Pep needs to try and find a solution to sort out this issue in defence of conceding so many goals. Because I'll tell you what, This was Fulham today. You do that against Real Madrid, even though they've been poor in recent times, they will punish you at any given time. But it was an absolute bonkers game, though. I have to be honest and say that. Listen, if December's going to give us games like that, by all means, I'll be there to watch it with my popcorn. And that now puts pressure on Arsenal because Manchester City find themselves in second place, 2 points behind Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal are playing tomorrow against Brentford, but the pressure is on them. Drop points against Brentford, Manchester City could be right there behind you. And guess what? With Arsenal playing Aston Villa on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, and with Manchester City playing against Sunderland, hey, listen, guys, listen. The title race might well and truly be crazy, and it might be back on for Manchester City. I'm not saying Arsenal are going to drop points. It's not likely. But if they drop points tomorrow against Brentford, if they drop points against Aston Villa on Saturday, and Manchester City win their game against Sunderland on Saturday, Manchester City could go on top. And if there's one thing that we know about Manchester City, despite them, yes, conceding all these crazy goals and stuff, once they go on top, once they lead the line, it's very difficult to get them off that top, man. Very, very difficult. And I feel like Manchester City, they love to hunt more than they love to be hunted when it comes to the Premier League. And listen, yeah, like they call themselves Sharks, hey, the Sharks are lurking. But equally, if Arsenal go ahead and win their 2 games, Brentford, Villa, there's no debate. But still, it could be a very interesting title race. So listen, let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Let me know what you think about this game. What did you think? Did you like? What did you not like? Let me know in the comment section below. But listen, also, like, share, comment, subscribe. It's road to 20k. Please put the notification bell on and put it on all instead of personalized. Otherwise, you will miss a lot of the stuff that I post and release on this channel. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Until then, people, take care. And I shall see you not tomorrow, but on Thursday for a Manchester United match reaction. Until then, people, take care.